Testing. Oh, honey, I wanted to do the circle. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. This is mid-March. Damn, it's mid-March already? It was just March 1st, not too long ago. It's March 16th, the day after the Oscars. How's everybody doing? Honey, the judge is here. He's been here. He was actually here before I even went live, but he had to go get the Constitution book because we're going to be reading the Constitution a little bit to you guys. So he's coming back shortly. Please like and share the video. We're going to have a good show today. And what are we going to be talking about? Well, we have to talk about the Oscars. I'm so glad that Michael B. Jordan won for Best Actor, lead actor at that. And of course, Sinners won for original screenplay and cinematography. And it was something else. I got to look it up. But they won 4 Oscars. They should have won for Best Picture, but whatever, or even Best Director. But it is what it is. Delroy Lindo should have won for supporting. Sean Penn won. He didn't even show up, but we're going to talk about it. And I kind of want to talk about it from more of the political, cultural angle of the history of the Oscars. I have a couple of clips. Amanda Seale, Ben Affleck, Charlamagne, stupid comment. And then Formula One. We got to talk about Formula One because they won an Oscar for Best Sound. And, but the reason why I want to talk about Formula One because they canceled 2 of their races in Saudi Arabia and Bahrain because of the U.S.-Iran war. And of course, we have to talk about the U.S.-Iran war, the update, the Strait of Hormuz. It's messy. The whole thing is messy. Tucker claims that the CIA is tracking his text messages. I want to talk about that. Definitely got to talk about Mark Lamont Hill. He doesn't want the U.S. to win. He wants Iran to win the war. And NATO. Trump held a press conference today. He's calling out NATO saying, listen, NATO, you wanted the United States help when Ukraine, was going through war. We helped you guys. So now that we're asking you, NATO, for your help with us, with Iran, y'all want to run scared. And the question I also want to ask is Netanyahu dead? Honey, because that was trending over the weekend. And apparently a video was released of him getting coffee. And I'm like, why would a prime minister, and one of the main reasons why we're at war with Iran is Iran is sending bombs, bombing Israel, and the drone's supposed to be collecting it. So, but he's out in broad daylight in a coffee shop getting coffee like everything is good in the hood. That's an AI, honey. And if he ain't dead, where is Netanyahu at? Where he at? And then towards the end, I'm going to sprinkle in some Fulton County. Yes. Okay, I see the judge here. Hi, Judge. How are you?
All right. All right.
All right. So listen, I want to start off with Oscars. The Oscars. Oh, and before we get started, guys, please like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button. I do have a goal. If you would like to send in a question or comment, please do so via super chat and get in that comment section and, start commenting. So, all right, let's get into it, honey. Let me share this. Michael B is one of my faves.
Oscar goes to Michael B. Jordan.
This is the first Oscar win and nomination for Michael B. Jordan.
Man, God is good. God is good. And yeah, Mama, what's up? Y'all know how I feel about my mother and my father's here. Your pops, where you at? My dad came in from Ghana. He flew in from Ghana to be here. My brother, my sister's here. My family. I want to thank Warner Brothers. I want to thank Mike and Pam for believing in this dream, this vision.
Okay, so I don't have to play the whole thing unless you want to hear it.
I don't.
We're not going to be a pessimist today.
It's not pessimist. I used to work out there. I know what this is all about. So, yeah, okay.
But I am happy for him. He's been in this business for 25 years. He got his first Oscar. There's not a lot of Black people that have won the lead or even been nominated for a lead or even supporting. So I'm happy for Michael B., right? Delroy Lindo, who played the drunken pianist in the movie, legendary actor, he lost out to Sean Penn. Sean Penn didn't even show up. And huh?
Good move.
Yeah, I mean, because he probably feel the same way you feel about the Oscars,
Bullshit. If you want to find out who's going to win them, you can go to the LGBTQ site the week before and they'll tell you who. Really, they can. You can. The Oscars started off long ago because every Tuesday and Thursday, every theater in the country changed shows. You got two brand new movies, several cartoons, and a sub feature. So all of these things are to come up, and movies were like TV shows are now. So the Oscars were to give the audiences an idea of what they were about and what to waste time or not waste time on going to see. Now the movie has gone in, run 4 days, gone to Blu-ray, and everybody forgot about it except they play politics with it. And then they give out Oscar awards. And by the way, they've got directors and producers out in the audience who are moving the audience into paid, good looking extras around so it looks impressive. So, I
Well,
mean, if you
mhm,
like that kind of thing, it's good entertainment for that kind of thing. Sometimes they get good comedians or
mhm.
MCs, and sometimes you get Ellen DeGeneres up there that bore the hell out of you with flat jokes. But it is what it is. If you're into that kind of thing, to me, it's
Mhm.
what the
Well,
hell.
Ryan Coogler won for Best Original Screenplay. They did not win for Best Picture or Director, and they also won for Best Cinematography. And the woman who won, she was a cinematographer for Sinners. She was the first woman to actually ever win the Oscar in that category. So listen, congratulations to Sinners. I don't know what happened, Judge. You don't win Black. Hello. Give him a minute, guys. Just give him a sec. Yeah, just give the judge a sec. He'll be right back. There you go. Now you're still black and I can't hear you. You're black and I can't hear you. Give him a sec, guys. Bear with us. So, like I said, listen, if you guys have comments or questions, it'd be appreciated if you could send it via super chat. Like this video, share this video, and get in that comment section. Just give the judge a second. Somebody must have called him. That knocks him right off. There you go. All right, there you go. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay. Well, what were you saying?
Well, it's good entertainment, I guess, if you like that kind of thing. But, you know,
Well,
there's more
I
important
want.
stuff to me that I find more interesting.
Well, Amanda Seales, I think she carries your same sentiments. I want to play her clip because she's an actress in Hollywood, but she gets a lot of flack for the things she talks about. And whether people like her, dislike her, agree with her politics or not, she made some pretty valid points. So I'm going to play the first few minutes and have you comment and then play the rest of it.
Like the fact that people care about the Oscars right now, like that's, like, I don't know how you can care. Like I had a couple of people tell me like, oh yeah, I'm going to the Oscars. And I was like, so you about to go and sit up in there with them?
With what?
Well, it was muted out, but I believe she said pedophile.
Like that's like really what you own? Yikes. It's like, like, I just don't know how that's like a thing. And it's funny because someone just came on here who feels the same way about this as me. But when he say it, y'all be like, yeah.
What is that?
But when I say it, it's Amanda Seales is bitter.
So she's on an Instagram live talking to her audience. So that's why that's the commentary. Let me just get to the part where she actually.
I mean, I guess it's a validation, but at a certain point, I'm just like, Ryan Coogler won for Sinners, but what did he win? He won for Best Director or for Best Screenplay? Because I called that he would win for one of them, but that it wouldn't win for Best Picture. Because that's typically what they do. They'll give the black a Best Director, or they'll give the black a best Screenplay. See? He won for Best Screenplay. I told you. They did the same thing for Spike Lee. Why does it... Okay, here's my thing. Like Ryan Coogler winning for Best Screenplay, what at this point in where we are in the world, right? And where we are in life, what value does him winning Best Screenplay really hold? You know? You know what? You're right, Alexander the Goat, because that's the other thing. They won't give a black director. They'll give them Best Screenplay. I have no idea, non-traditional mommy. You guys are crazy. How is this huge for the genre? What's the genre? Help me understand. What is the genre? I can't wait to hear this one. The Koreans are winning big. What is the Korean? What for us? No, that's y'all problem. Oh, K-pop Demon Hunter. That makes sense. That's y'all problem. You always just want to be happy. It doesn't matter in what way or how you get it. You just want to be happy. And at a certain point, it becomes your willingness to continue to show up for people who hate you to be your source of joy continues to give them power over you. How are we not doing that math? Like, what are we talking about? Zionists control everything. And Zionists are literally. So unless you're going to capitulate to them, they're going to put you under their thumb. Or you find another way to go. I'm never going to be on the I'm just happy that they like me bandwagon after the other. One battle after the other, one after another, one best picture. I rest my case. It went for best director. Out skill. The Oscars shouldn't even exist. Okay? They shouldn't even exist because the fact that there is any award show for performances is beyond my scope of beyond the people who are actually doing the performances is beyond my scope of comprehension. It should all be participation trophies. And at the end of the day, the only ones that get to be involved are because they are at a certain monetary threshold. That's it. So we're now watching award shows that are based on creations that met a certain monetary threshold. That's what this is. That's what this is. And if it doesn't meet this threshold, it's not even considered important or valuable. That's what they've taught us. Like for a certain amount of time, like, yes, that made sense. We're too far down the line. We're too far deep in the mud and we know too much to be still doing this. It's like people going to the Met Ball. Like, really? You going to the Met Ball in
I can't
2026?
take this. Can
Wait a
you
minute.
switch this off? That's all I can take it at.
All right, it was the end anyway.
Good. That's
So
enough. I'm sure she's a charming lady, but that ain't my thing.
it's
It's
not
like
about
the
your
whole
thing, it's
bit,
about her message.
Oscars, Hollywood, and anything. People pay attention to this fictionalization of reality and no attention is paid to the reality. The things that we are going to talk about dealing with the Middle East are the subject matter of fiction in some years, but people would rather deal with the fiction, the fevered imaginings of this Hollywood crowd that is expert in fantasy and make believe than in the reality. That always gets me.
Yeah,
And
but
it's
she was
what the
I think she
Romans
was
talk.
talking to that too, how
Well, I know, but that whole presentation,
well she
I'm
was on her
sure,
live. Yeah, it was her
I'm
live.
sure it's nice and some people like it, but I
Yeah.
just don't. I'm sure she's a
Well, yeah,
nice
yeah,
lady,
yeah.
but it just irritates me when I
Yeah.
hear stuff put that way.
Right. She was talking, you know how people go live on Instagram and they talking to their audience on their phone. So it was a casual conversation. It wasn't like when we do a show and doing commentary. So that's why it was like that. But I just wanted to highlight she is an actor in Hollywood, part of SAG, like yourself, and basically saying, why do you fall into this trap of this idea of the Oscars and being accepted by the Oscars? However, when Michael B. Jordan did his post Oscar press conference, they go backstage and they speak to the press and take questions. They did ask, it was a reporter that did ask him, how do you feel when people tell black actors you shouldn't focus too much or want the approval of the Oscars, like it shouldn't matter.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. That's a correct statement. If you sit there and depend on what everybody else has been doing to jump on the bandwagon, you do nothing inventive and it's all stale and boring. And then when somebody comes up with a bright idea, the rest of them jump on that same wagon and try to get a free ride by copying it. So You know, that's Hollywood.
Let me see.
Next question for in the room, number
Did you hear that?
The question from the room.
316.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean,
Wait,
good
one second.
actor or whatever it is, but
Thank you. Nathan J. Lee from the Los Angeles Sentinel. Michael, you make us proud, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Thank
Man,
you.
Thank you.
Nathan Hale Williams, a fellow screenwriter, recently said in a video on Instagram, please stop telling Black people not to desire Oscars. As someone who just won tonight, what does this recognition mean to you and to other writers coming up?
Man, I feel like it feels timely. You know, I feel like I said before, I'm here because of the people that came before me. You know, Sidney and Denzel and you know, Halle Berry and Forrest and, you know, all those actors who graced the stage and not looking for awards and not looking for acknowledgement. They're artists. They want to do the work, you know, and that's something I've always focused on, was trying to do the work. My father always told me, don't expect anything to be handed to you. You know, you do the work, you know, and everything else is going to figure itself out. And you know, there is a selfishness in understanding that in your craft, in your industry, this is a pinnacle, and this is what, you know, our industry standard is. This is what we put value on in a big way. That competitiveness, you do want that, you know. But at the same time, there's a, you know, what's for you is for you, and you can't take anybody's blessings away from anybody else. So I'm just like walking my path, man, and just trying to be locked in. So I would encourage other actors and other, you know, artists, no matter what their you know, their medium is to try to keep that in mind and be honest and truthful and just, you know, do you know, dream big, man. You know, dream big and be kind, bro. Be honest. I'm really big on like pouring into the universe, and the universe is gonna pour back into you. And
So, you know,
the
very
Romans
humble.
used to think that theater was useless unless it pushed something that promoted the purposes of Rome. So the question you have to ask is the same one. What purpose does the entertainment push? Now, okay, fine, all that other stuff about having a dream, it's like, okay, that, you know, at this late removal in life, that kind of offends me that somebody should be talking about God is blessing somebody because they can make believe or come up with fantasy that distracts. Okay, yeah, wow. What difference does that make in the scheme of things? Except it's entertaining sometimes. So is gambling, so is watching a football game, so is going out and playing golf or bowling or hunting or fishing, except some of those sports have a greater utility and carryover into the real world that says, okay, this really counts. This will make a difference in what happens to you day after tomorrow. That won't. So that's why Rome had a certain attitude toward its entertainers, and we don't. It's also an exemplification of why we don't have any Thurgood Marshalls, Malcolm X's, H. Rap Browns, Frederick Douglass's, W.B. Du Bois, or anything like that. We've got a bunch of Cory Bookers, Maxine Waters, and Chicken George Sharpton, and you know, what's his name?
Pulpit Pimp, Pastor Bryant.
Yeah, and all of that crazy bunch. And what's the one, the little arrogant somebody that was Obama's little spokesman that has the show these days? The little round guy.
Oh,
Um,
Obama?
no, the commentator. There's all the little round commentator.
Well, I'm about to play a clip.
Roland Martin, Roly
Oh,
Poly.
Roland Martin.
Yeah, anyway. I mean, see, when your
He's a
heroes
news
become
journalist. Yeah.
when your heroes become people who are into fantasy and make believe instead of real world heroes, because you have none, you're in a pretty pathetic position. Not taking anything away from the people who do what they
Right.
do. I
No,
mean,
no, no.
it's
I agree with that. I accept that. And that's it.
Like,
because
why don't we have this kind of attention paid to the cost of food, gasoline, the work conditions, the fact that our cities are full of rampant violence, theft, and death, and insane killing of somebody that's your neighbor just because you're angry at yourself and nobody gives you a purpose, a duty, a responsibility to carry out, and you're supposed to be some helpless, grown little spoiled brat who's supposed to be taken care of by some big tranny, I guess it's tranny big sister or something who's supposed to take care of your dumb behind, and you're not supposed to do anything and never grow up. I mean, it's offensive. And that's one of the problems we're having with the rest of the world.
well,
We represent the most corrupt aspect of the Western world. And maybe what we're running into is not fanaticism for third world purposes. It's like decent people saying, okay, we have rules and this stuff is just,
yeah,
an anathema. An anathema. It's
and
anarchy
and
in the
but this is
human condition.
But this is why I do respect Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, because they know that it's Hollywood and they're saying, listen, I love what I do. It's a craft. I'm here to entertain, to be creative. A lot of it is with a message or whatever. They're not trying to be a savior for Black America or, someone of role models. They're basically saying, they're going to conduct themselves as men, respectful men, and just work hard. But it seemed like when you look at the media and all the outside noise, Hollywood itself, they make this fantasy narrative that is basically bullshit. So to your point, and this is why I wanted to play the Amanda Seales, even though it was kind of drawn out. But at the end, she said, let me just say this. At the end of what she was saying is people still going to the Met Gala, and I don't know if you ever heard of the Met Gala. That's $50,000
I
plus
have,
a ticket,
I
and then
have,
you got
I
eggs
have.
costing $7. So the average person can't even afford eggs, but you wealthy Hollywood celebrities paying 50,000 plus to get dressed up to go to a Met Gala. So it's like, where's the priorities or responsibilities, or just having a reality check of what's really going on in the world?
Been there, seen that, done that, enjoyed that if I chose to, which I didn't because I thought that was a complete waste of time to go do that. But uh, I was there for 15 minutes. I guess I got to the top of what I was doing out there with that. It was revolting, and I had to repress waves of nausea on a periodic basis from being involved in it. It's sick.
Well, I wanted to play this clip here because this is
Except if you portray a message, which I always tried
yeah.
to do,
And that's
but
why
they
you
always tried to
respected
defeat
that
it.
is why you respected the movie Sinners, because it did portray a message and a time period, and it was delivered well. And that's why you respected
Yeah,
it.
it was an entertaining
Yeah.
movie on the vampire theme, and I enjoyed it. I didn't like that
The dance.
scene of the fantasy regression in
Yeah.
music. I thought that was a complete waste and took up too much time in the movie.
Mhm.
But that's Hollywood, and they always have to throw in their little 2 cents to ruin, which is something otherwise good.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, okay.
Well, I want to play this clip of Charlemagne kind of just being stupid.
Oh, this is another idiot. This is supposed to be one of our. We are supposed to emulate somebody. This is it. Come on.
Timothy Chalamet
Yes.
hasn't had a good Oscar campaign. Now, the best thing that happened to Michael B. Jordan, the best thing that happened to Sinners, was hiring that guy to say nigga at the BAFTAs.
What a take.
That was the best thing.
This
That was
is-
the best PR.
Just slow down for a second. I just want to give you a little chef's kiss right here.
That was the best PR.
Because now the Oscars like, man, if we don't give it to him,
You see what I'm saying? He changed the tide. You get the guy.
the momentum was going with Timmy.
It was going with Timmy. You get the plant to go there at the Tourette's joint.
And that's why they probably left it in the edit, even though they cut out the other
You
stuff.
see what I'm saying? Yells
Now he
out
wins the
nigga.
Oscar. You go take that little BAFTA, whoever got the BAFTA.
Michael. No. But he didn't win the BAFTA. Michael won the SAG, which increased his chances of winning the Oscar.
That's
you know what
good.
I'm saying? And he won the SAG after they hired the guy to say.
So are you saying that he should be grateful that? What are you saying?
I'm saying that he's going to win, right? By the way, he should win anyway. I mean, he played 2 goddamn roles in one movie. He played 2 twin brothers and made them both very distinctive. It was a phenomenal.
I'm not playing the whole thing, but he's basically
please,
saying,
that's revolting.
but he's
These
so
two
ignorant.
these two need to get bass in their voice first off. And then this fool calling himself Charlemagne the God, the real Charlemagne, Charles the Great, was apparently a 7 foot 1 inch tall giant amongst 5 foot 4 inch, 5 foot 6 inch otherwise men who made Adolf Hitler look like a Boy Scout in terms of the slaughter of people that he was responsible for. I think he killed 120 some thousand people because their funerary practice was to cremate their dead rather than bury them. I mean, he was a real wacko. So a lot of what Europe got into that resulted in the world wars and 1,000 years worth of nastiness can be attributed to the person whose name he wants to adopt. Uh, this is what I'm talking about. Why is this what young black folk have to listen to in terms of guidance? It's sickness, it's perversion, it's degeneracy, it's weakness that leads to hard times. And, what do we say about that? Hard times make hard men make good times make weak men make hard times. It's a cycle, and we need to get the hell away from this cycle of hard times, weakness like this produces. So anyway, I can't take this kind of stuff, please.
So this is the last clip I want to play talking about sinners, because we briefly spoke earlier about contracts in Hollywood. So this was a clip of Ben Affleck touching on the deal that Ryan Coogler made with Warner Brothers with the movie Sinners. Let me see.
People will tell you now, like, it's very, very difficult to make a movie for less than $25 million, right?
Yeah.
And 25, and it can go up very quickly as soon as you got a big stunt unit or big action stuff or visual effects. And here's the thing with theatrical, which is why it's very hard. Like, you spend about the same amount that you spend on the movie to advertise the movie. So if you spend $25 million to make the movie, you $25 million to advertise the movie. So now you got $50 million into the movie. And from the movie theaters, you get back roughly 50%. So if a movie makes $100 million, you get back $50 million. So if you get back $50 million, that's you $25 million movie got to gross $100 million, just in simple math. And there is a tail and there are secondary revenue streams, but that's one of the things that has made it really hard to get theatrical. That and the fact that people now go, this movie looks good, but I'll see it when it comes on streaming, And so those two factors are really what's caused, why you see mostly the movies that come out in theaters are, Avengers and or Avatar or whatever it is, and a movie with that Ryan Coogler, who's a huge commercial director, and Michael B. Jordan, who's a huge movie star. That's considered kind of a risk because it's not like a sequel, right? And even that comes out and blows up and it's a big hit. Now, now they'll make Sinners 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, but to do something original, that's really, where those guys had to go out and really kind of use all their credibility and cachet to convince people to do that movie.
Well, similar like you did on Sinners, he kind of like did like an artist equity type of thing with how he structured his deal and how
Ryan's a really, seems like a very, very smart guy, and he did a really smart thing with that deal, which is that he kind of related to this idea of kind of ownership, like talking about the Air and the Jordan deal earlier, like you're going to get the movie and you're going to release the movie, but like, they're going to be participants in it, and they got what's called a reversion, so that Ryan and I assume, the other principal creators, the movie reverts back to his ownership. Because there's a lot of value in a movie. The movies that are really successful, they have a lot of value in what's called like the tails. Like that's why, you know, they'll still license a movie for 10, $20 million to Netflix or Prime or Max, you know, that's been out a long time ago, because people will still watch it if it's like a big hit. So now Ryan will be able to not just, you know, get a piece of it now, but in 10 years when they're going to license Sinners again, that's all going back to him. And he bet on himself, right? And it really now accrues the value of that. Very, very sharp, very innovative. It was very controversial. So a lot of people were on the studio side were mad at Warner Brothers, because it was like, oh, you're giving away this value. But that's an example of like using that leverage. It's like, okay, you figure this guy's so good and he's got this cast and this script so good. He's like, this is what I want. Change the business, essentially.
Okay, translation. I know what he's talking about. That assumes that you've got an industry that deals with their contract obligations straight up. They don't. Ninth Circuit tried to teach them a lesson in 2011 when ABC and Disney violated their contracts allegedly with the cast, crew, production of So You Want to Be a Millionaire. The plaintiffs initially asked for about $8 million in damages. They kept winning, and the industry kept putting them off. So adding punitive damages and other stuff in there. With the interesting thing is this industry singularly fails to understand the first operative principle of American contract law, colon, all parties are expected to deal in good faith. Perhaps we can correct this. So instead of the $8 million, the judgment was $580 million, and that's up over $1 billion now, 15 years later with interest, which is why we had Wakanda and the Black Panther and all of that, so they could appeal to Negroes to give them box office so they could get the cash flow to pay down the interest before the plaintiffs got to levy on Disneyland, Disney World, and ABC properties all over the country. Now, if you want to see how bad this is, next time you go to a movie, at the very beginning, pay attention to all of the studios that are involved, because this $50 million tab up front, most studios can't afford it because they don't have cash on hand, though they have cash flow. They've got reciprocity credit and all this other stuff. So you'll see 4, 5, 6 studios involved in a big movie. Now, what is going on is it's going to depend upon the good faith of Hollywood, of which there is practically none at all. So it sounds like a very good deal, but the actuality is you're going to have to put together probably in 10, 15 years about $250,000 to conduct an audit. Hopefully you had the right to inspect the books, but hopefully it wasn't just after 1 year, where they usually write that in as a provision. Hopefully you won't have to go in for an interminable lawsuit that takes 10 years, 9 years, 7 years to resolve, trying to get your money, because they'll cheat you and try to bookkeep themselves out of having to pay out. And next thing, somebody might think in headquarters they're paying out, but some of the lower level executives are stealing the money so they can take your residual, so to speak, or your benefits 10 years from now, and they can channel them into some production that they want to put on so they can get a claim to fame in Hollywood. And it's a mess. So what you wind up with may look like it's straight innovation. Like I had 45% of the unadjusted gross from the first dollar with CBS, and I never got any of it. My lawyer turned up dead a week before the action was supposed to be filed. We had put money up for the audit and everything else, and cost, and he turned up dead, and I got a refund check. But you know, that's been years ago, and that was quite a few $1,000,000 they were trying to cheat me out of. And right now, because I'm kind of blackballed, I got to go through all kinds of changes to get residuals from these shows that they keep showing on YouTube and other
See,
venues.
you know,
So
but see, that's
same
the
kind of
thing.
mess.
Yeah, but see, this is why they're on YouTube or Facebook, because you don't get residuals for that because that's not a network. If they're not playing your shows on ABC or CBS on regular TV because they, like you said, they don't want to pay you because they know they're going to have to pay you once they start playing your old
Yes, I
shows.
have put this in because I am a lawyer. I had my agent put this in. Wherever in the universe they're played on any venue, if there is any proceeds received for any purpose, cause, or whatever, they owe me. And then the other thing too is, in all this time, they have yet to pay me one dime for the residuals due for ABC in CBS rather in Europe, where they are playing it 6 times a day up until fairly recently. So that's another lawsuit situation. So they're just filthy crooks. They giggle about backstabbing each other and sit on leather couches and rub on each other's knees. And you're going, what the hell is that? While they're sipping on Chablis and nibbling little wafers and cheese.
Let me ask you this one last question on the Oscars before we move on. Is the Oscars so racist, or is it more?
It's not racist. It's gay.
Okay, so it's
I
freaky.
said you can go there. Like, for example, I got nominated for 3 Emmys, never won one. The last time I got nominated, the Emmy went to a show that had been on for 3 weeks before it got canceled, and I've been on for 13 years at the time. Yeah.
But you say gay. Is it freaky? It's more freaky.
What it is they have taken over and they reward their friends for what they think are innovations. It's like Moulin Rouge, one of the most boring, dull, trivial, stereotype pieces of garbage I've ever seen. The traffic on who got what in the week before, who got all of the awards for best movie and best script. It was garbage, but they were rewarding themselves. This guy's been chugging along for a long time, so we want to make him feel good.
I see what you're saying. All right.
And the whole thing is scripted. I've been to Oscars before. And
You've been to the Oscars or the Emmys? Because you're on
Oscars.
TV.
I've been to the Oscars. In fact,
Okay.
I had an interesting thrill. My late former mother-in-law told me she was so proud when Jet Magazine had me and Frida Payne going to the Oscars, and my mother-in-law opened up 6 copies of Jet Magazine and put them down on the table at her beauty salon. And she said she forgot about her daughter who walked in and picked up the magazine. And at that time we were divorced, and the daughter went off and got crazy about the whole thing. But I enjoyed the moment.
I'm pretty sure you did. All right, so let's
Oh
go
yeah,
to.
it was thrilling. That was worth it. Anyway.
Let's go to Iran. And guys, please like, share, donate. So our F1 Formula One has canceled 2 races. So there's no races in the month of April, Bahrain and Saudi Arabia because of Iran. Let me play this clip here.
Well, we can bring you an update on what I was just discussing with our sports correspondent, Rob Harris, and how the conflict and the war in Iran is having making its impact felt on sporting events as well. Well, Sky Sports News understands that the Bahrain and Saudi Arabia Grand Prix will not now go ahead. Safety is the paramount concern of Formula One and the FIA, and the situation in the Middle East has not improved in recent days. Official confirmation of this decision is expected in the next 48 hours. Both F1 and the FIA have declined to comment on the matter. So Sky Sports News understands Bahrain and Saudi Arabia Grand Prix will not be going ahead because of the war.
So Lewis Hamilton won an Oscar for Formula One movie for Best Sound. But as far as Formula One, this war is affecting a lot. It's affecting, first of all, me and you are Formula One as enthusiasts. So there's no races in April because of this damn war. Now,
it's not a war. It's not a war.
What is it?
It's what you call a police action.
I don't want to hear none of that.
No, let me explain the difference. If you get the SWAT team going out and raiding a drug den, is that a war or is that a police action?
It's a war on drugs.
No, it's not. That's bullshit. The war on drugs doesn't work. It's a police action. What you are looking at right now is not defined as a war. It's defined as a police action. In other words, there's a violation of international law going on right now. And what is supposed to be happening is somebody who is in a position to play the world's police, which England used to do with the Royal Navy for a couple of centuries until they lost it for the same reasons we are about to lose it without a turnaround, which President Trump is trying to do. It's, in other words, you've got a lawless rogue nation that's out of hand. What's going on over there in the Middle East in terms of the restriction of the shipping traffic is effectively international piracy. And as such, piracy is way outside the pale. So when you go suppress, eradicate, uh, et cetera, and punish piracy, it's not a war. It is a requirement of a civilized society. And that goes all the way back to the Phoenicians 2,400 years ago. So Rome did it, Phoenicians did it, Greece did it, you name it. Anybody that was anybody did it. And it's in the Marine Corps hymn, that little phrase from the halls of Montezuma, which refers to the Mexican-American War, to the shores of Tripoli, which deals with eradication and suppression of the Barbary pirates in the Middle East in the same general area for the same reasons. You've got what you got. It's why SEAL Team 6 went after bin Laden, because by Article 6 considerations of the Constitution, what bin Laden did when he was the head, nominal head of Al Qaeda, which hijacks at least 4 aircraft, to 3 of them fly into respectively the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, and the 4th, due to the heroics of the passengers, crashes into a vacant field. Well, that's called piracy. So the Navy goes and takes care of the pirates, and it is what it is. That's the law of nations. And that, by the way, is in Article 1, Section 8, where define and punish piracies and enforce the law of nations becomes something that is an obligation of the commander in chief, and the definition and punishment for violating those things is up to Congress. But once they do it, it's out there, and the commander in chief, the president, has the obligation and the duty to enforce those edicts. So that's what you're doing over there. It's not a war. It is a suppression of lawlessness on behalf of a nation. The other thing is, international law has always recognized a preemptive strike. Now, if you're trying to put together a nuclear bomb and you're threatening somebody, you either in a situation where you're on parity, so to speak, and you can get away with the threat, or you get suppressed. So we find that Hiroshima and Nagasaki brought the fanatical Japanese military and naval forces to heel, and that was for 16 kilotons and 18 kilotons. What is that? That is very small tonnage, 16,000 tons of TNT, and then the other one is 18,000 tons of TNT equivalent. So you wind up with 36,000 tons of TNT equivalent, but the bomb that the Iranians can make, which is primitive these days, is somewhere around 200, 250 kilotons, which is several thousand times more powerful. And if 30 plus kilotons brought down Japan, that would do some severe damage to drop 200 kilotons on the United States. And guess what? They don't need missiles because they probably brought the
Yeah, but
stuff over here.
listen, nobody don't need to drop no atomic bomb or nuclear bombs on nothing. And I'm with you, P. Monsell Singer says, whatever it is, I don't agree with it. So my thing is, I want to play
Well,
this
go get
clip.
your ass blown up. You want to get irradiated
Well,
and
I don't.
vaporized?
Nobody's not blowing us up, and we
No,
should
I'm talking
have.
about this one. They have already done it. See, what the strike was about was two things: to take off the fanatical leadership, the previous Ayatollah who has been threatening, and also to serve as a warning to the less ones. This is what's going to happen to you if you set them off. Now, the real problem is with the open borders that the Biden-Harris administration were responsible for is a thermonuclear bomb or warhead that if you had tritium to build it in, which by the way is what causes typical pistol gun sights to glow in the dark, is tritium. It's available on the world market. A tritium fueled hydrogen
Why
warhead,
does
a
that got to come into
thermonuclear war. No, no,
detail,
no. I'm
honey?
just going to give you a perspective. A 500 kiloton nuclear warhead weighs between 55 and 80 pounds. The backpack weight for somebody in boot camp is 80 pounds. So you can put that in a backpack, walk across the open border with nobody checking your stuff, put it in place, and we've got a disaster. So the only thing you can do is wipe out the people that would press the button, so to speak. And that's what's going on over there. So you have to take these nukes out because, in spite of what the anti war crowd is talking about, it's not really a war, it's police action. And two, if they flip the switch, it's an unmitigated disaster. That's the first time that amount of tonnage, megatonnage, or not megatonnage, but kilotonnage, will have been unleashed on a human population in world history.
Let
We're
me play this one.
responsible for 36 kilotons. We don't want 200, 250 unleashed on us, and they don't need a delivery system. The stuff's already here.
Let me play this clip here.
Oh, go ahead, please.
Mr. President, you've said that Iran does want to make a deal. Now, into the third week of this bombing campaign, what would that deal look like? What are the ask that you're making of the government?
They want to make a deal. They're talking to our people. I don't know if they say that to you. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Don't forget, they are a country that for years, I didn't know this until recently, they're a country based on disinformation. And now they're using disinformation plus AI. And that's a terrible situation. That's a terrible situation. They showed all sorts of things happening in the last 2 weeks that never happened. Between their kamikaze boats that don't exist, between blowing up the aircraft carrier, one of the great ships in the world, the Abraham Lincoln, on fire. They showed it on fire. I called the general. I said, General, what's with the Abraham Lincoln? It looks like it's burning down. No, it's not burning down. Not a bullet was ever fired at it, sir. They know better. I said, this is my first glimpse of AI and what they've done with it. They showed buildings in Tel Aviv burning to the ground, high-rises burning. They showed buildings in Qatar. They showed buildings in Saudi Arabia burning, and they weren't burning. They weren't hit. It was all AI-based. Terrible. It's terrible. And I think that's the only thing they do well. They're negotiating. And we always talk. Somebody said, well, would you talk? Why would you even talk to them? I talk to everybody because sometimes good things come out of it. But I don't know if they're ready yet. They're taking a pounding. I don't know if they're ready yet. And we don't even know their leaders. Look, all of their leaders are dead, as far as we know. But they're all dead. We don't know who we're dealing with. We knocked out the first group. Then the second group met to pick the leader because the first group was all dead.
So I want to read this here. Let me
Let me
read
tell
this.
you what he's talking about. The accuracy that they have with the smart bombs and such, that you don't give a general target designation. You specify what the address is on the street and what office the guy has in the building, and you can put the bomb through his office window if you want to. Literally.
So this is
Sometimes it miscarries, but you can.
So this
Like,
is the New York Post. It says behind closed doors, Trump briefed that Iran's new supreme leader is probably gay and president has priceless reaction. The shocking claim was described to the Post by two intelligence community officials and a third person close to the Trump administration. Iran says Strait of Hormuz is only closed to US, Israel, and their allies. Gas prices reached highest level since October 2023 as oil holds above $100 per barrel. US stocks jump. Trump says numerous countries on the way as he urges nation to help reopen of Strait of Hormuz.
Hormuz.
Trump admits U.S. doesn't know if new Iranian leader Mojtaba Khamenei
Motaba Khomeini
is dead or alive. Now, it says here President Trump was stunned to learn last week that U.S. intelligence indicates new Iranian supreme leader may be gay and that his father, the late Ayatollah, feared his suitability to rule the Islamic Republic for that reason. Trump couldn't contain his surprise and laughed aloud when he was briefed on the intel. Others in the room
Yeah,
also
I
found
think
it
it's funny too.
hilarious. They
I
found it
think it's
hilarious,
hilarious.
enjoying president's reactions, while one senior intelligence officer has not stopped laughing about it for days. Well, first of all, it's a lot of guys over in the Middle East are gay. They are because people think if you're Muslim, oh my God, you're not gay. No, there are a lot of Muslims who are gay, but people in this type of position and a lot of men over there who are gay, you have to keep it a secret or you'll be killed, and you could be killed by the hands of someone who maybe sympathize with the LGBTQ community. But either way, they're saying
It's
that the
like
new
child
leader is gay.
molesters. There are a bunch of child molesters running around loose in public, but nobody says, go right ahead and molest the children. It's like if you get caught, you get jacked up. So the idea with this is, oh my God, it's so unfair for the child molesters to be prohibited from doing their thing. That's just not the way humanity goes because you're expected to control your urges and your passions for the benefit of orderly society.
Now, it also says here that Trump says some countries are on the way to help open Hormuz Strait. On Monday, several nations will send warships to join the United States Navy in escorting commercial ships through the Strait of Hormuz, but express Hormuz, Hormuz.
Yes.
Excuse me, but expressed disappointment that several key NATO big boys, notably United Kingdom and Germany, have not responded to his call for joint operations. I'm going to play this clip here.
Well, let me tell you why Britain hasn't.
Well,
They've
can I
got
play
two.
the clip
Well,
first?
before you do it, just
It's
very
only
briefly.
28 seconds.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Like, as an example, in many cases, they're NATO countries. We're always there for NATO. We're helping them with Ukraine. As many, it's got a notion in between us. Doesn't affect us, but we've helped them. It'd be interesting to see what country wouldn't help us with a very small endeavor, which is just keeping the strait open. That, by comparison, it's small because Iran has very little firepower left.
Okay, if Britain is in a mess, the United Kingdom, that's you.
Hello? What happened? He froze. Judge froze. Oh my God. I can't stand that. You are frozen. You guys see that, right? You see that he's frozen? Oh, okay. So he's not even in here. Let me remove. I got to remove him. I don't know what is. Remove guest. I don't know. Okay, there you go. Now you're dark. I can't see you or hear you. Go out and come back in. Go out and come back in, Judge. You are as well. Yeah, just go out and come back in. And come back in again.
Can you
There
hear
you
me?
go. Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
just
little
got the yellow thing that says, oops, connection lost. Like usual, whenever we get to talking about certain things that we must be hitting pretty close to home on, we get that yellow thing. But what I was saying was Great Britain is getting a vague threat given to it, which is get your shit together because you're messing up. You have not been putting enough of your national budget into these things, and your main naval force, which should be down there helping out, which is your two new aircraft carriers, which are about the size of our 1950 editions of the Forrestal class. You don't even have the aircraft to provide a striking arm, and you've rented some F-35s from the United States. So why don't you build your own?
Let
Now,
me put it.
that's the
I want
case. Nobody else really has a Navy that can do much of anything except do mine sweeping and maybe do a little anti-submarine stuff, which is something the Iranians don't have. They can go off and do some alternative target situations where they become decoys while the U.S. Navy knocks them out. 1986, 87, the U.S. Navy was regularly escorting ships through the Strait of Hormuz there. And then there's the island of Karg that's probably going to be visited by Marine boots on the ground, which would be a brief raid. It's not large, but it's strategically located in the strait. And it's a place to be held if you're going to try to maintain
Let me play this clip here real quick.
an embargo of the area. Go ahead.
Well, you know, normally you build a coalition of the willing before you go to war. I mean, that's just a tip from somebody who's been there. Our coalition was the U.S. and Israel. I'm great with that coalition, but we should have gone to NATO members, not to tell them the operational details or the timing, but to say, look, we're going to take serious action here. It's time for this regime to go. You are threatened by Iran's nuclear capabilities and aspirations. You are threatened by Iran's terrorist activities. We want you in this with us. Now, maybe we wouldn't have gotten all of NATO, but if we had worked the issue, it's at least possible that we would have gotten some from the outset. And as things developed during the last 2+ weeks, we could have brought them in later. But none of that preparation was done, and we're now seeing the downside. And I tell you, tweeting out or saying in a press release you want China to help you open the strait is not the way to do this. This is what quiet diplomacy may succeed at, no guarantees, but you don't get it by publicly demanding that they come in.
Maybe you do. I disagree with that tactic. That's same old, same old.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, the U.S. really doesn't need NATO except to keep expenses down and to be alternative targets in this situation. NATO was set up so that the United organized Europe into defensible segments, meaning we'd be expected to provide the main defense. NATO countries have not been putting much expense into their own defense, and we've been shouldering a lot of it. The Obama-Biden administration and then the Biden-Harris administrations have been responsible for the reduction in the size of the U.S. Navy down to where it would be strained compared to 20 years ago.
Well, here's the thing, because NATO, you wanted United States support with Ukraine. So now that Trump is asking for your support with Iran, you want to drag your feet or act like you don't hear the phone ringing. And then, and of course, Trump is not going to just brush it off. He's straight up saying, if you don't come in and help us, it's going to be bad for you guys in the future. So you want to
By the way,
so you want to help us now, or you want to face the consequences later?
There you go. And to see the other thing too, that's what some of this tariff stuff is that these ignorant Democrats are mouthing off about. Um, it's to coerce some of our erstwhile allies into saying, hey, you put up or you shut up. And if you shut up and don't put up, you're not going to like the consequences. It will be very damning. All those Mercedes, Porsches, BMWs, Volkswagens, Audis, and stuff that you like to sell us, well, guess what? That's going to drop down and it'll hurt your people. And since for the most part you have parliamentary government that can be subject to early called elections, you won't like the political consequences at home when people start saying their work hours drop and their paychecks drop and the cost goes up. They're not gonna like that. So you either play ball with us or we'll kick your ass.
Let me play
So
this clip here. Let me play this clip.
Well, so many of these countries are part of CENTCOM, but this is the point, is that it's going to hurt your country in the long term. But when we talk about the Strait of Hormuz, which is such an important transit point for global trade, you have said it is closed to Israel and it's closed to the United States. The Financial Times is reporting that European diplomats from France and Italy are talking to your government about trying to get safe passage for their ships. Are you open to restarting oil and gas vessels going through there?
Well, we are open to countries who want to talk to us about the safe passage of their vessels.
You are negotiating with France and Italy?
Well, I cannot mention any country in particular, but we have been approached by a number of countries who want to have a safe passage for their vessels, and this is up to our military to decide. And they have already decided to let a group of vessels belongs to different countries to pass in a safe and secure. So we provide them security to pass because we have not closed this strait. They are not coming themselves because of the insecurity which is there because of the aggression by the U.S.
So here's the thing, though, when it comes to what happened now? Oh my God. What happened with him? Let me text him. Like, where are you? What happened? If it's bad weather where he's at, then the connection is not going to be good. So it's not always, oh my God, what you're talking about. It is the connection, and especially in the surrounding area where the judge is at. So yeah, going again. Just give him a second. He's going to be coming right back. Because I want to get into the TSA. Into where's Netanyahu? I think this is AI. I really do. I think this is AI. It's raining. Well, Rapid Magazine, where you at? Because the judge is in Memphis. Are you near Memphis? Is it raining in Memphis? Okay, it's taking him too long. What is this? What's going on? I think he is hiding. I think that's an AI video, and I think he's hiding. I don't know what's going on with, I don't know. He should be coming back shortly. But I think that Netanyahu, I wouldn't care if this man is dead. And I hope he is. Like, he is the devil. I've said this before. I don't, he's no hero. He's not. He is solely corrupt. And I'm up pissed that we are at war, and I'm using the word war with Iran because of him, because of Israel. Like, come on. Actually, let me show this. BB with Tupac, okay? Because this is a video where he's supposed to be having 6 fingers. Clearly, this video is not a real
שמשנים את מאזן הכוחות במזרח התיכון וגם מעבר לו.
Yeah, he has 6 fingers right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with an arrow. So that video is an AI video. Like, AI is, oh my God, it's too real, which is to me bad for society.
So for 2 days, the internet has been on fire without evidence saying Benjamin Netanyahu has been killed in an Iranian strike on their command base in Tel Aviv. Now, they put out a video last night that does look AI-ish. I mean, it looks fake to me. It might be bad compression, who knows, with Netanyahu alive. But an Indian reporter got arrested today for yesterday shooting footage out there at the bombing site in Tel Aviv with Netanyahu surveying it. I think Benjamin Netanyahu is probably alive. But regardless, I hope he has not been killed. And those of you out there celebrating the idea that he has been killed, use your brains. Netanyahu is a criminal in my view, very corrupt, 50% approval rating, uses wars to stay in power. But if he actually gets killed, it makes him a martyr. Killing the mullah only unified the Iranians against us. Trump getting shot, crazy the year, made Trump more popular. This is just stupid. This is insane. So I see all these people celebrating Netanyahu, ding dong, the witch is dead, the witch, old witch, the witch, ding dong, the wicked witch is dead. Probably not even true. But regardless, you understand that Netanyahu, compared to the rest of the Knesset now, is a moderate. And I'm not defending him. But it's some people that say, take out Putin. He is a moderate compared to the hardliners. So think second, third, fourth order repercussions out of this. And when Netanyahu, I think, pops up tomorrow live, or at some press conference, just remember that the Iranians engage in propaganda too. And the first casualty of war is truth. But the world-class liars have been the Israelis so far. And they drug us into this war. No matter how you slice it, we shouldn't have a foreign power controlling our foreign policy. While they talk about criminal referrals to arrest Tucker Carlson from the CIA because he interviews Iranians, that's not being a foreign agent. Having AIPAC run our foreign policy is, and try to censor Americans. This is my final report of the evening. More coming tomorrow on Sunday. Be sure and follow us right here on X at Real Alex Jones and at AJN Live, the network backup, and on Rumble, the Alex Jones Show. God bless you all.
So listen, I know some people think that I'm going to say Tucker Carlson. Some people think that Alex Jones is crazy and out there, but calling somebody crazy is just very dismissive. I agree with him. If he is dead, then yeah, he's just going to be made a martyr. But Netanyahu has so many enemies. He's not liked here in America. He's not at all. So I don't think he's going to be made a martyr. People are sick of him, and Netanyahu creates wars so that he can stay in power, so that he will not be prosecuted. He's that much of a criminal, because before the Ukraine war, he was about to be prosecuted and go to prison. And then, and then he started bombing Gaza. Yeah, not Ukraine, Gaza. So Netanyahu, is he dead? I don't know. However, this right here is fake. This is AI because it has 6 fingers. And I think this is well, this right here was a meeting. He wasn't even there. And how you're not going to be at a meeting with your head of army officials and lead and cabin leaders, right? And so when it was circulating over the weekend that Netanyahu has been killed, and this is coming out Iran press and everything, he puts out a video of him in a coffee shop saying, "Look, I have 5 fingers, not 6."
מתאווררים, לצאת להתאוורר, אבל ליד מרחב מוגן. והעמידה שלכם...
Okay.
Israel, well, no, let me finish. Israel is getting bombed by Iran, and of course their drone protects it, but some of it have went through. So they're getting bombed, but you're going to put out a video to prove that you're alive by going into a coffee shop. And so what happened was, I think this is AI, because what they did, they created a video of the late Ayatollah at a coffee shop doing the same thing. So you can recreate whatever you want to create in AI, and it looks
Well,
great.
let's put it this way. Harry Truman used to walk across the street to his favorite cafe when World War II was going on without Secret Service protection. He'd do that every lunch. He stopped when some Puerto Rican activists attempted to assassinate him and put some bullets in the coattail of his girlfriend, or a lady, not his wife, he was walking over there with. So it's not unusual. And the other thing is, I assure you that if they got Netanyahu, there would be a massive Israeli airstrike on Iran. And I think what's going on is it's a very measured police action, as I said before, because that's not necessarily what would happen were they to assassinate Netanyahu. Now, the actual fact of the matter is that Egypt and Saudi Arabia are cooperating with Israel. That's a triumvirate over there that the U.S. manages as surrogates so that it can keep a hand in controlling what's going on. A lot of what is out there is convenient, and certain crowds, folk flock on it, and it becomes an anti-Jewish thing, a pro-Jewish thing. But there are other practical considerations that the ordinary flow of the ignorant don't need to get a hold of, because they wouldn't know what to do with it, and it would be defeating. The other part is when you're doing something like this, you don't tell everybody actually what you're up to. So there's a lot of speculation, and most of the speculation is either intentionally deceptive or just based on ignorance and a lack of understanding of how things work. So I have a sneaking suspicion Egypt, Israel, and Saudi, particularly its counterintelligence network, have been hard at work on undermining what Iran is up to. Iran has its counterparts, and most of the propaganda is not intended for the Western world, that it knows would pick up the falsification, but it is for the benefit of those others who are in United Arab Emirates, in the Saudi area, in Iraq, in other peripheral areas in the Middle East, the peasantry out there in the boondocks, and in the crowded areas of urban settlements who would be impressed by this stuff. So everything that you see is not necessarily designed to impress or even influence the people that actually have the military and naval power. Is to influence the people on the ground who are in the position of being nobodies, know nothings, ordinary commoners out there just depended upon to fill out the ranks of troop units or
Well, listen,
submit to the
so all right, let
politics.
me throw this in here, because Trump is deploying 5,000 US soldiers, particularly Marines. And when you start doing that, I don't think it's going to be ending anytime soon.
That's not a
However,
big unit in
let
the
me
military.
finish.
Go ahead.
So the US Energy Secretary Chris Wright said the U.S. conflict in Iran will likely come to an end in the next few weeks amid uncertainty about oil prices linked to whether the strategic Strait of Hormuz will be kept open. I think that this conflict will certainly come to an end in the next few weeks. This is what he told ABC News. Could be sooner than that, but the conflict will come to an end in the next few weeks. Well, Trump did say 4 to 6 weeks, so that would be around that timeline. The Republicans, the Trump presidency, even his administration, and anybody trying to run for office in 2028, if this is carried out any longer, is going to be bad for you guys. And it's going to be bad for America as a whole because Americans, we are the ones footing the bill. Now, my thing is this, I don't care how much people want to romanticize the narrative of why we did what we did with Iran or going to war with Iran. I don't think it even should have started. None of us know exactly the reason why. We don't know exactly what's going on because it is classified. Whatever these news outlets are reporting here or abroad, they don't know. It is all assumptions. When people bring these experts on their podcasts or their shows, they don't know because they're not in the situation room. JD Vance, he was he made this, and I wish I would have pulled that clip. He said, when you go into that situation room, it is highly classified. You can't bring no iPads, no cell phones, no nothing. He was like, and I'm not going to tell you what we talk about or if I agree or disagree with anything that is discussed, because a president needs to feel that his highly most, confident cabinet is not going to go and run and talk to the press and and spill their emotions on what's going on, how they feel about something. So again, we don't know exactly what the hell is going on, and it seems like everything is hinging on the Strait of Hormuz, because you're talking about oil, you're talking about money, you're talking about trade, and at the end of the day, no matter how many bombs Iran have or don't have or we have, if people are not making money, then that's the problem. It's about money at the end and power. So we don't know. That's what I'm saying. We don't know exactly what the hell is going on.
The U.S. Navy can open up the Strait of Hormuz. The question is, how much damage do they want to do? Now,
Right.
the point is, they can't let it all hang out. It's got to be moderated. And 5,000 troops would completely overwhelm the island of Karg, which is crucial to the um, blockade of the channel in question. Now, 5,000 troops is not a great number. 5,000 troops is about.
That's the Marines he's sending in.
Yeah, I know, but 5,000 troops, to give you an idea, is when they put down the LA uprising in 1965. I was there. They brought in 14,000 troops from the National Guard, so 5,000 is less
Yeah,
than
I don't
half
I don't
that.
want to harp on the troops. The point that I'm
No,
trying to
I'm
make
just
here
telling you
is
the
that's fine,
people.
but
No,
I'm
hold
gonna.
on, hold on, hold on. This is important. The people need to understand this isn't even a divisional thing. This is probably a brigade at most, composed of maybe 2 or 3 battalions, which is a small formation.
That's not what I'm talking about, Judge. What I'm talking about is Trump and his administration, Netanyahu and Israeli cabinet, or whatever. They know the real reason why they started bombing Iran. We
Yeah, to
don't.
get rid of the
We don't.
possibility of doing
No,
a nuke.
no,
We know.
no. Me, you, and the general population and the media, we don't know.
I can
Now,
tell you what it
now,
is.
no, I don't want you to tell me because you're not in that situation
I
room.
know, but the
It's still
point
an
is, look, look,
assumption.
look, look,
No,
look, look.
let me say what I want to say real quick. Let me just say this, because now we can speculate, because before they attacked Iran, you went in and you took out Maduro, arrested him, took his oil. attacked Iran. Trump is visiting China to sit with Jinping October the 1st. And not April the 1st. He's going to China to meet with the president of China. So I'm sorry. Venezuela, Iran meet with China. What is the common denominator? China does heavy trading and rely on Iran, and they were relying on Venezuela oil. Now we have oil stock prices going up $100 a barrel straight off Hormuz conflict or whatever. Trump is going to
That's
China in
not why
April.
we're doing
Let
that.
me finish.
That's not why we're
Trump
doing
is going to China in April. The timeline that the Secretary of Energy and Trump said that this war with Iran will end 4 to 6 weeks. That is still the timeline of the beginning of April. So again, it's not. People are saying, "Oh, Iran needs a new regime." That ain't why we went into Iran.
That's a benefit that would accrue if
That
we
ain't
did it.
it's
We
not
haven't
why.
gone into Iran. What
Bombing
is
it,
happening?
whatever
No, look.
we're doing, we're bombing the hell out of Iran.
Okay,
But
we've
it's not
already
to
done it
change the
several times.
regime. It's not to change we don't give a shit about anybody's regime.
Yes, we do.
No,
Now,
we don't.
look, it's like if you want the precedent for this, we don't have to go back that
I just
far.
think we need to look at the
Look,
chess
I'll
pieces
tell
that
you
were
what's
being
going
laid out.
on.
Venezuela, Iran, and he's going to visit China. So he's going, let me say this. Let me put this on the table. Trump is going to sit with the president of China. What does he have that China needs? Venezuela and Iran.
No, they don't give a damn about Venezuela. What they want is more trade concessions because 80% of their economy is generated by sales to the
I'm talking
U.S.
about Venezuelan
Now,
oil that we
that they want the money because they've got a burgeoning population again. They up the family from 1 to 2 children, and they need the money. Now, the other thing is the precedent for this is nothing new. Think Cuban Missile Crisis. Why did we set up a blockade of Cuba with the United States Navy? Because the Russians or the Soviets were putting in nuclear warheaded, medium range, intermediate range missiles. And you cannot have,
facing us.
yeah. And the
And
thing
wait,
of it
hold on.
is,
And when you were in school, y'all had to hide under the desk.
yeah, well, this was after we hid under the desk. This was in high school. So anyway, the
Oh, it
problem
was.
is, yeah, this is the problem here. Uh, you cannot remember 36 kilotons brought Japan to its knees. We were facing maybe close to 2.5 megatons in total. A megaton is 1 million tons of TNT. A kiloton is
Who invented
1,000
these
tons of TNT.
bombs?
So anyway, the problem is nobody wants to face a hostile rogue situation where somebody has gotten 1,000 times what they dropped on Japan to bring that conflict to an end. So we can't afford to let Iran get one. The Middle East can't because they think that in the matter of jihad and going on to paradise, might induce somebody to say we'll take a bunch of folk down with us, and
So
you don't
you
want
think that
anybody
we're
with
in
that.
Iran because you think that the reason why the United States and Israel strike Iran is because they have nuclear weapons that they're not supposed to
They
have?
are going to get them now. They
But
may
it's been
have them.
reported. It's been
They
reported that they did not. They did not
well,
have
it's not. That's not the
that.
reality. They
Well,
are
the
them.
reality is Tulsi Gabbard sat in front of Congress
I don't
and
give a damn
she
about
also did
Tulsi
a press
Gabbard.
conference, but she's the one that is in
I
charge of
I
finding
don't care.
out
She's not
if
going to tell
they
you the
have
truth.
it.
She's
So
not
then
going to.
she's lying. So then she lied.
They're all fair in love and war, and when you're dealing with espionage,
Has
prima
it
facie
ever
definition
occurred
is
to
you lie.
you? Has it
Now
ever
look,
occurred to you that maybe president is lying, maybe
you
Hezbollah
don't
is
tell the
lying,
enemy what you're gonna do.
maybe
We're look.
Netanyahu
Do
is
you think the
lying?
Japanese told us? Oh, hey, on December 6th, our fleet is going to unleash an attack on Pearl Harbor. It's 1941 December.
Oh, America knew.
No, they didn't know with
Yes,
a
they
certain.
did.
No, they
Yes,
didn't
they
know with.
did.
Look.
Yes, they
We
did
knew.
know.
Look. Let's put it this way. It's like what happened.
Roosevelt got
Hold on. It's
Roosevelt
hold
got
on.
that. What do
Hold
you
on.
call
Hold
that?
on.
What do
Hold
you
on.
call
Hold
that?
on. Hold on.
Telegram.
I know that. Hold on.
You
The
wasn't even
point.
born
Look.
yet, so you don't
I'm.
know.
That was my major in college. Look.
No, it
The
wasn't.
point is, yes, it was in
No, it was
political
not.
science and a minor in military science. Now, stop. Here's what the problem is. You may know that it is going to occur. You don't know exactly what date. I assure you, most of the battles that took place in the Napoleonic Wars, in the Roman period, World War One, World War Two, you could predict that they would occur, but not necessarily when or exactly when the launch date was going to be.
Let me ask you this question.
Now,
Did the United States get a warning that Japan is going to attack America?
okay, you got signs
Yes
that
or
it
no?
was no warning on the date. It wasn't a
It
date.
wasn't. They didn't know a date, but
That's the
they
point.
got a
That's the
warning.
point. That's what I'm
They
telling
got a
you.
warning, but
Okay,
they did
yeah.
not send. They did not look further into it.
Okay,
They did
fine.
not evacuate Pearl Harbor or nothing like that
Fine. Why would they evacuate Pearl Harbor?
because that was the
Well, the
area where
point
Japan was
is
going
why
to.
didn't they get the P-40s and P-39s and the Wildcats, F-4Fs airborne to intercept that mess? All right.
Because
They didn't know exactly when.
wait a minute, because Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, right after that we went into World War II, and then
Yeah,
we dropped the
Churchill was
bomb.
praying for that,
And
I'm
right,
sure.
and exactly, and then we also dropped the bomb on Japan. So a lot of times
That
you
wasn't
allow
even
things to
invented then.
happen. You allow things to happen so you can have an excuse to do
That's
what you
not
really want to
that's not
do.
that's not the hows and whys. But what's going on right now is no nation with the ability to forestop this kind of mess has any good common sense if it puts itself in a position of having to forestop it. The United States had information that Pearl Harbor or something close to it would occur. Actually, they didn't anticipate Pearl Harbor being the initial target. That was a surprise. They didn't think, one, that aircraft from aircraft carriers could deliver that kind of decisive strike. They were thinking battleships and warships 20 miles away shelling each other sometime or another in a setup where the two battle fleets were maneuvered into position. They did not think in terms of aircraft carriers and air power. Now, back to this situation right here. What is going on over there is also predictable in terms of the consequences, but as an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, just like we did what we did with Cuba, setting up a blockade of Cuba, which caused the Soviets to agree upon our agreement to withdraw our intermediate range of missiles from being targeted on Moscow and Petrograd and some other places. It was an exchange. Iran doesn't have much of an exchange, but they did just deliver a very heavy strike with some very interesting ordnance against some vertical silos in certain mountains that were dug into granite substrata, which were very well protected. So you don't want them having the launch bases either. We just made a strike, very heavy strike on that. But the thing to understand is air power alone, unless it is extremely devastating, is not going to bring somebody to their knees. Germany found that out when it had the Blitz against the English, and the English and the Americans found that out with their round the clock bombing, RAF and USAAF of Nazi Germany. And we found that out when we just about obliterated the Japanese cities with B 29 firebombing until you got to the nuclear aspect, and then that was a whole different ball game. Now, what they are bringing to bear on Iran every time they pull off one of these strikes has the tactical and a strategic effect of a week's worth of heavy 1,000 plane raids on Nazi Germany. The firepower of an F-16, an F-16 can carry the bomb load of a B-29, and that's a fighter plane. F-35 can carry it too. So every time you get one of these fighters going over, think about in World War II for Germany, you got 6 or 7 B-17s trying to carry what one American fighter can carry. And since they had an area probability of 5 miles, any bomb drop would be expected to come down in a 5-mile radius. You can get this stuff now where you give the people the street address and the office number and what floor, and they can put a bomb through the window.
All right, so
Now,
we need to move
there's a
on.
difference.
We need to move on. I want to go to Joe Budden podcast to Mark Lamont Hill, because Mark Lamont Hill.
The idiot. Didn't we have a tangle with him?
You did. I did not.
Oh, that's that weak little fool that was whining around talking smack about. Oh, yeah, I was suffering from throat cancer at the time. I could hardly talk, but he's weak.
So let me finish. So
Go ahead.
he's part of Joe Budden podcast, and Joe Budden is mainly a
Joe Budden.
He's a podcaster. You don't know him,
No,
but
I
they
don't
mainly
know
talk about pop culture stuff or whatever. But you know, in time to time, they do talk about politics. So they was talking about the Iran war, and they asked Mark Lamont Hill, because he's supposed to be somewhat of a scholar.
He's
about
not a scholar. He's
all
a
right,
shyster.
Judge. Come on, stop, relax.
His name irritates
I
me.
said someone. You thinking of Charlemagne? You don't really remember?
No,
him
I
until
know. I
bring him up.
remember this clown. In fact, there's some traffic on X from some postings 6 years ago, 5 years ago on it, clown.
All right. So just let me finish. So I want to play the clip of Mark Lamont Hill remarks on Iran. And thank you, Bernard. Appreciate you guys. Please hit the like button. Please share this video and send in super chats to support the platform. So here we go. Let's see.
If my man goes out and starts a fight at the club, and I don't agree with why he started the fight, I still got to ride.
You can't sit at the bar while a man is fighting.
Not only do I got to ride, I hope my man wins.
Right. Right.
So I'm only starting with, this is Joe Budden. He's making an analogy of supporting Trump, the United States versus Iran. So this was his analogy. So I'm not playing it from the very beginning.
If my man goes out and starts a fight at the club, and I don't agree with why he started the fight, I still got to ride.
You can't sit at the bar while a man is fighting.
Not only do I got to ride, I hope my man wins.
Right. Right.
My question to you is, do you want us to win this war? Us as in America. We don't have to agree with why it started or how it got here. But once it's in the thick of it, aren't you or shouldn't you be rooting for a win?
Yeah, what the hell? No. Oh shit. Not me. No. I don't root for a win. What I root for, because I know what a win would mean.
What would it?
A win, because there's a way that when, as the United States, first of all, even the word "we" is doing very particular work in that sentence, right? Because I think about myself in the context of a global community as well. I don't necessarily think of myself just as a citizen of the United States, although I am. But when a lot of us who are even disconnected from the issue say we want to win, what you're thinking about is the safety of the troops, the stability of our lives, all that stuff. I want that. But I don't want that to come at the expense of the stability and safety and dignity and the rights of other people. So as I watch this happen, I don't want a win any more than if your homie's fighting. The first thing you want, what you're rooting for, is a resolution.
Facts.
You'd love to come in there, cool this shit down, and be like, yo, let's get out of here.
Of course, yes.
That's plan A.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And at every moment, you're hoping, if you're sane, And as you're older and mature, you're hoping
cooler heads could prevail
at some point, even if punches get thrown. You don't want to now take it outside. You don't want to go to the trunk. You're right.
But in this, we outside already.
Right.
We outside.
I don't want a loss because of what losses mean. Right. And if we're talking about Iran in particular, there are consequences to an Iran quote unquote win. What I'd like to see in the purpose of having an international community and international bodies like the United Nations, for example, is to have people who can intervene to create some kind of resolution where you don't even have to have winners and losers, because that the very framework of winners and losers requires a lot of people to die, people's land to get annexed or taken,
let me ask you, what does a Iran win look like here?
So it could look here. It may not look that different, except for the number of people who die.
Okay,
I'll give you a concrete example. Think about Vietnam. The United States lost the Vietnam War.
Right.
Just by any objective measure, U.S. lost the Vietnam War.
Facts.
So if you say, what did that mean here? Well, it meant a lot of our uncles and aunts and friends and relatives died.
Got it.
You know, and there was an economic cost for the war machine. And a whole lot of people got rich from that war machine here. So it also strengthened the gap between the have-nots and the have-gots. Those are the kind of things that I don't want to see. You know, but the Vietnamese won, but for the Vietnamese, winning kind of meant resisting the imperial power. It meant making the U.S. say, you know, fuck it, this ain't worth it. You know, like you can bully somebody every day and they can fight. At some point, the bully gonna look for somebody else. Even if ultimately they don't lose, they don't want to fight that hard all the time. So an Iran win could just look like resisting and keeping their land. In the same way that a Cuban win for the last 50 years has meant keeping the imperialists at arm's length. Sometimes, so because they want you to think that if Iran is successful, that means that they're going to take over the whole country and there's going to be a global caliphate and that Sharia law is going to control the whole. That's not what the
Iran winning a war of attrition with the U.S. would mean more than just the safety of their people. It would mean the crashing of our economy, the crashing of a dollar, us being without resources.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't see any evidence of that. But also, it depends on how we escalate, right? I mean,
it's almost
if this escalates, because there's always proxy wars, right? A lot of these wars are really Russia and China and other people fighting against the United States through other people, right? If this keeps growing to a World War II scale, then yeah, the things you're talking about could happen. But that doesn't have to be. That's not even Plan C. I think there's a lot of steps before we get there. This could stop in 5 weeks. This could stop in 8 weeks. And if the United States, if the Iranian military infrastructure is strong enough, they could stare down the U.S. enough for the U.S. to back up, but allow the U.S. military to save face. Because that's what Donald Trump's not walking away with an L.
Absolutely not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well,
Iran will defeat the United States.
Okay. Nonsense. That's garbage. Neither one of them knows crap about what they're talking about. Now, the fact of the matter is you have to take down Iran's capacity to get equipped with nukes and deliver them. And there's a high likelihood that they had a prototype that they've already insinuated into the United States, the continental United States, thanks to the open borders. That's a fact. Now, 911 2.0 looms. But the fact of the matter is when it comes to Karg Island, Kharg, which is in the Strait of Hormuz, putting 5,000 troops in there just serves as a live fire training exercise, which is supposed to have its hazards and expose the troops to actual jeopardy of suffering death or serious bodily injury. That's what makes it realistic. You have a number of lower ranked enlisted men and officers in the Marine Corps that need to be tested under fire to see if they have what it takes. That will produce a more effective military, or at least Marine component, naval component for a couple of generations. Now, that's one of the considerations. And like I was saying earlier, it ain't that big a military unit that we're talking about. And these guys are going off on this thing of the evils of war. The fact of the matter is like, we heard that evils of war is about love, man, not war, man. and all
Well,
that
let me.
garbage, which led to this emasculation of the country. But there is this thing that when resources and politics and ideologies and theologies get in the mix, humans have a proclivity for killing each other on a collective or individual basis.
So let me insert this. Why did I play this? And because I always say we got to sprinkle in pop culture, right? Joe Button is a heavy hitter in pop culture. He has, I believe, over 2 million subscribers just on YouTube and millions on Patreon. He's an influencer.
Nice for
Why?
him, but I
No,
didn't
no,
hear
no. Wait,
anything that made it worth
right, but let
listening
me
to.
let me
But go
finish. Let
ahead.
me finish. So his platform reached millions. People tune in. So he brought in Mark Lamont Hill so that they can have more of these quote unquote political conversations. But this is the problem. This is why I'm playing it for you, right? To give your commentary to actually really speak the truth to debunk his bullshit. Basically, you get what I'm saying? Because
Okay, I'm not
millions,
so.
because of
What's this button guy?
Joe Button. But
I'm
what I'm
not
saying
so
is young people,
offended by him, but
right, yeah,
Lamont
no,
Hill.
you're not, no, it's not about Joe Button. I'm just saying my generation and younger, the young people listen to a Mark Lamont Hill as if he knows what the hell he's talking about, and they don't understand because they can't they can't decipher between emotions and facts, emotions and the history of war or the history of this country. Do you get what I'm saying? So you're going to be the voice of reason.
Okay, my
If that makes
analysis.
sense. Does that make
Yes,
sense?
I know what you're talking about. In other words, he's not a scholar. He's not an academic. He has no experience in the field. He hasn't been subjected even to the necessity for politicking on a domestic, local level. So he's just a loudmouth who wants attention.
Mm-hmm.
And his analysis is extremely sophomoric. It's cliched. It simply regurgitates the nastiness of the Democratic Party and their garbage. So it doesn't work. And I don't know why anybody would want to listen because it's just nonsense.
Well, let's go back into time, honey,
Oh, you're
because
talking about this is where Lamont Hill's
yes,
ignoramus.
you put Lamont Hill and the Grio on the map. This was 4 years ago.
Yeah,
This
that's
thing
what I
went
was
viral.
saying.
I think I have over 2 million views and stuff. And he just couldn't believe that you were not only defending Bill Cosby, but you were actually conveying
I know he's
him about the law.
Lamont Hill is an asshole. Let's
But
just put him.
can we
I'll
play
be
the clip
nice
though?
about it. Well, I was there. I remember. But go ahead.
The thing is, it's not guns. It's not any excuse. It's we have got a lack of manhood and masculinity in our neighborhoods. See, masculinity is the imposition of a set of behavioral standards on a boy. So when the boy grows into a man, he has some things he has to do that he cannot get away with, that he is compelled to look to, making where he lives a better, safer, more secure place filled with economic prosperity, sense of purpose, morality, and ethics. He is a man of public peace, dignity, and order, who is a man of peace, who can be a brave and courageous man when necessary. See, we have to start
Judge,
taking
let me
our
pause you for a
neighborhoods
minute.
back.
We're going to take a Judge. I want to hear
Okay.
more about that, Judge. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to take a quick break and bring it right back. I'm going to push you on some of those things as well.
I just want to wait. Give me a second. Let me get rid of this commercial.
Now, when I was doing this, I had third-degree burns on the inside of my throat from a cancer treatment, radiation. Still haven't recovered from this.
Yeah.
Either didn't do or if their rights are violated or both. But you've also raised this interesting question that I think is worth unpacking a bit, and that's about ethics and morality within the black community and holding each other accountable and talking about manhood and masculinity. If we, again, assuming Bill Cosby doesn't take the legal stuff off the table, if we look at the depositions, the very thing that got him ultimately, the thing that ultimately got him locked up, and those depositions, and he's talking about the various women he had sex with giving them alcohol and pills, whether it's Quaaludes or Benadryl. If you look at the dozens of women who come forward and accuse him, is there room to say, look, Bill Cosby can come home because the prosecutor was wrong, but Bill Cosby also has to be accountable for what he represents and for acts of and for predator-like behavior?
What about these women being accountable for their own behavior? They were groupies. Well, sex, drugs, rock and roll, sex, drugs, rap, sex, drugs, baseball, football, basketball, movies, television. See?
Yeah, but right now I'm talking about Bill Cosby. I'm saying
we forgot what that term meant. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. The bimbos come to the party, they hang out, they get drunk, they snort lines of blow, and they have a good time. They use the hall closets to give head, the bathrooms to get down, and you go in to get your coat off of the bed, and they're laying on top of it doing somebody. See, that's what that's about. So,
yeah,
I mean,
Judge,
it
has to be consensual,
25,
though.
30, 40, 50 years after something was in big time style. When this stuff started out, the sexual revolution was going on. And a lot of women got into it deeply.
Okay, but so there's two things you raised. But first, let's talk about Bill Cosby. We can talk about the women, but let's talk about Bill Cosby. Let's talk about Bill Cosby for a second, because that's the person we're talking about. My question was, is there room to what did he do? Well, according to the deposition, he gave women pills, and in one deposition, he specifically said he didn't know whether.
Force it down their throat,
no, let me finish.
He didn't take advantage of them. Look at that interview Whoopi Goldberg did with that model Johnson. Whoopi got all so wait a minute. You're trying to tell me that
hold on, Judge. Let me ask the question.
He found out you were high. He called a cab, took the elevator down with you, put you in the cab, paid your fare, tipped the man, and sent you home because you were high. So what did he do?
So in one deposition, so Judge, in one deposition specifically, when he was asked the question, was he sure that the woman was sober enough to consent? He said, "I don't know." But there's a bigger question here: is if someone willingly takes pills and becomes high and drunk, can they legally consent?
Sometimes you can. Used to be you could. They had a change in there back 25 years ago when they were saying, no, you can't. But before that, basically, you could. That's why they told you.
So, but we're talking about the law. So then, Judge, again, since you're saying we should appeal to the law, if the law says that you can't be
intoxication, where you did something to them they didn't consent to. See, that's when that law started changing from you got yourself drunk, you are responsible to know the bartender's responsible because he lets you get drunk. That's when that change started coming about.
Bill Cosby's admitting to giving women alcohol and pills for the purpose of having sex, and if by the law you can't consent if you're drunk or high.
You go out to dinner or you have a party or something. So
yeah,
does
but that's not the same.
Taking
That's irrelevant,
advantage
Judge.
of because they do something they would have done anyway? A whole lot of them I knew back in the years would take
sexual
drugs,
assault, Judge.
particularly Quaaludes. They did that a lot. I had a lot of female clients I had to get out of messes because they had a fondness for Quaaludes. It's not cool, but
it's okay to take.
Don't you bear any responsibility for this, especially if you keep going back?
So, Judge, let me. I want to lay this out plainly, just so, and I'll give you a chance to respond. I'll even give you the last word. If you give someone drugs and alcohol, even if they want to take the drugs and alcohol, if they get to a point where they are inebriated, where they are high or drunk, you cannot have sex with them. It is not sex; it becomes rape. And even by the legal standard that you're saying we should appeal to,
that's only the law in certain states. It's not for every state. And it goes into the same philosophy.
Diabetes,
coronary disease,
autoimmune diseases,
obesity, cancer,
pretty much chronic diseases.
It goes into the same thing. I didn't know I was going to get that drunk, so it ain't my fault I got a DUI and kill somebody. How you think that's going to float?
Right, but the difference is the
Plus,
drunk
you
person has a
have people
responsibility to
on
not.
the East Coast who want a
The
new
drunk person has a
category of
responsibility
felony
not
rape.
to get into the
It's
car.
called rape
But
by
the drunk
seduction.
person does not have a
In other words, you
responsibility
take the
not to
woman
get
out,
the responsibility.
and you decide to
If
have
we're
a
talking
good
about
meal,
responsibility,
linen,
if we're
candlelight,
talking about
wine,
responsibility,
dine. You go for a walk in the park, my place or yours. Get over there, kissy, kissy, poo, seduction, clothes come off. Everybody has a good time. This crowd wants that to be called
everybody
felony
isn't having a
rape
good
by
time. One person's
seduction.
being assaulted. Right, but what I'm saying, Judge,
Nobody's,
and I got to
see,
run.
that's the point. He never admitted to what he did, was accused of, which is
how many people in your courtroom admitted to what they did
all
that
he
were
did
guilty?
was they asked
You say
for it, I supplied it. They wanted it.
Okay, this
That's
is
like
just
put some
flat out rape
candles
at this
on and
point.
some incense when we do it. Let's go out and have
No,
a fine meal. Some Pinot Noir,
Giving some this is
Cabernet
disgusting.
Sauvignon
Giving
to
somebody
go with the prime rib and the lobster. And then we, you know, after we leave the 5-star restaurant, we got a nice walk in the park.
This honestly is, with all due respect, is the most disturbing interview I've ever had in my life.
No, but see,
The idea
you
that
are
we're-
into this thing where everybody's got to be protected. This society does not work when the society's obligation is to protect somebody from being stupid. You protect somebody's
No, it's
rights
to protect somebody from being
to
raped, but we got to
exercise
go,
their
Judge Joe Brown.
discretion
We can have a
appropriately,
conversation, but
you
I
can't
got to run
protect
commercial
them
break.
from
I'm way
themselves.
past commercial
Just
break.
like you can't protect somebody from liability for killing someone in a fatal DUI because the bartender didn't stop
I got you,
serving them when they kept asking.
Unfortunately, I got to run with way past commercial break. I know you understand that. Thank you for joining the show. Let us know what you're thinking. Hit us up on Instagram.
That was embarrassing.
You said the groupies, the bimbos, sex, drugs, rock and roll. It was a sexual revolution in the coat room, and you go in to get your coat, and they are on top of your coats.
Yeah, that happened a whole lot. You're gonna
It did.
get off of me, get off of my damn coat. I don't want that. I got a girlfriend. I don't want her smelling your twat up in here. What's the matter with you?
Well, listen, he was like, this is the most disturbing interview ever because you were defending Bill Cosby.
Yeah, he's a lame. See, he's a nerd.
Well, you know,
I can't help it if he ain't ever had any, but I mean, you know, bottom line is like, see, which woman did he put in the cab that Whoopi Goldberg interviewed said, well, when I started getting high, he said, I need to go home. And he called the cab, put me on the elevator, took me down, put me in the cab because I was too wasted.
I think you're talking about Beverly Johnson. Sergeant says,
yeah, Johnson. I said the Johnson woman.
Yeah. Sergeant says, do you still support Bill Cosby?
Yes.
Yeah, like why would he not? Like, you know, Bernard.
See, what you got is at the time it happened, what went on was acceptable. And it wasn't like they didn't like it. All of these women that you get to talking about kept calling him incessantly over and over. Like what was one of them on Valentine's Day? How many times did she call him? What was 27 times?
I don't know. Well, let me read this. It says Lamont said, Judge, I hope you're not a male chauvinist. And Judge said, I am. That was a classic moment.
Yeah, I said I am. Hell.
Are you a chauvinist?
Yes, I am. Freely acknowledge it. I'm no pussy.
Well, how to okay, so not being a chauvinist makes a man weak? I don't understand that.
Look up chauvinist.
Should we look it up now?
Yeah, look it up right now. Look it up the way it is in Webster's, not in the new trendy little bullshit.
I ain't doing all that. Let me see something. Tell me the definition of chauvinist.
Chauvinism.
A chauvinistic is a person who displays an unreasonable, blind, or fanatical belief in the superiority of their own group, cause, or country. While the historical link to excessive jingoistic jingoistic,
Jingoistic.
patronism. The term often refers to male chauvinism, an arrogant, sexist belief that men are superior to women. Male chauvinism. A male chauvinist might interrupt women in meetings, like you do with me here, hold rigid views on gender roles, or belittle women's competence. You have done that often.
I
Not
don't
me,
belittle women's
not me, but
competence.
other women you have
That's the
belittled.
ones that are incompetent. It's like if you're playing football and the last three passes they've sent to you, you've dropped when you should have caught them, and you don't have any touchdowns, yards gained to your name, you're not competent.
And then it
So when
says,
we talk about Jasmine Crockett's, AOC's, Maxine Wastewaters, and that kind of thing, yeah, I talk
Kamala
about them being
Harris.
incompetent. I'm an
Okay,
equal opportunity critic.
so it says
And yeah,
often.
but let me
Let
give
me
you, I'm
finish.
going to break it
No,
down for you
let
when
me
you
say
get
this.
through.
Let me finish reading. So often termed a male chauvinist pig. Nationalist chauvinism, someone who blindly believes their country is better than all others and often treats outsiders with contempt, as detailed. General context, he is such a regional chauvinistic that he refuses to believe any city outside his own is worth visiting. So yeah, sexist, nationalist, patronins, bigot, or whatever. The original term derives from Nicolas Chauvin, a probable fictional French soldier in Napoleon's army known for his extreme loyalty, as explained. So yeah, so
Yeah.
you are a chauvinist. You interrupt me
Yes,
all the
I admit
time.
it. And then, but you see, there's one thing. Uh, it's about protecting womanhood and promoting manhood. And that protecting womanhood comes with a whole lot of sacrifices. We got to get up out of the lifeboats because it's women and children first and go down in with the ice cold water when the Titanic sinks. And then there's another thing too. Uh, I'm straight. And for the balance of my life has been about the pursuit, acquisition, and enjoyment of something known as nookie. And women are the sole source and supply of nookie in the world. And since I don't swing the other way, I got to go dance the dance and, go through the changes of making sure that nookie is pleased to come my way because I don't believe in rape. So if it's going to be here, have some, then you have to do what you need to do. So somebody offers, here, have some. Um, so, that's been our ancient privilege and duty. You protect and you provide. You protect the women and children. You die for them. You're on the wall going down to the last man. So you protect the womanhood and the childhood that will carry on the tribe.
Okay. Well,
And if you're
last.
willing to die for somebody or something, that gives you a say in how you die.
Okay. All right. Well, this is the last thing before we get up out of here. Of course, I want to bring up Fulton
And by
County.
the way, I do
Mhm.
have female dentists, doctors, some lawyers, and such like. But I don't have any female boss, never had one. And
You never would.
well, I had one, but that's kind of when I was a teaching assistant, and she was one badass woman.
Well, you don't. When you
That's
have a
been 60
woman,
years ago.
yeah, like you pay all the bills. A woman wouldn't be
Yeah, I
paying
pay
them.
the bills.
Yeah. Which
So
is
I
very
pay the
important.
cost to be the boss. I don't ask women for money.
Yeah, no, you don't. I think I tried to give you some and you was like, no, because I did try to pay you. I only asked once, and that was a couple years back. You said no, and I would never ask again. Um, and I think
So
you do. I think you do that because when you ready to get up and go, you don't owe nobody, no woman,
only
nothing.
thank you for the opportunity to associate with me. But
Oh,
I paid the tabs, and
right,
I ain't
right.
cheap either. I'll pay a big tab.
All right, so I want to end with this, of course, a little bit on Fulton County here. Nathan Wade finally testified in front of Georgia Senate on Friday. And I was going to stream it live, but I was sick on Friday. So I want to just play this clip here real quick.
Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade testified before a special Senate subcommittee in connection with the 2020 Trump election interference case. Thanks so much for joining us. For Fox 5 News at 6, I'm Eric Perry, in for Russ Spencer.
I'm Courtney Bryant. Lawmakers have looked into allegations of misconduct against DA Willis and her team's handling of the case. Fox 5's Deidre Dukes is live at the state capitol with the latest on Wade's testimony. Deidre?
That's right. Nathan Wade appearing before the committee after being subpoenaed. He testified for about 90 minutes this afternoon.
The investigation was not politically motivated or influenced.
Nathan Wade appeared before the Senate Special Investigations Subcommittee 2 years after resigning from the 2020 election interference case.
I did not accept the position to financially reward or benefit anyone, namely District Attorney Fani Willis.
The committee began looking into accusations of potential conflicts of interest and the misuse of state funds back in 2024. After Fulton County DA Fani Willis denied allegations that she benefited financially from her relationship with Wade, who she hired to lead the high-profile case. Several of the panel's questions dealt with reported email exchanges and meetings between Willis's team, the DOJ, White House counsel, and January 6th committee staff in 2022. In preparation for the Fulton County criminal case.
This whole thing today was just designed to make headlines. I mean, the Republicans are flailing, Trump's approval ratings are low, the midterms are coming, and they're just trying to make news so that they can change the narrative, but it's not. That's not going to do it. There's just nothing here.
When questioned, Wade repeatedly told the committee he didn't recall interacting with those individuals named in correspondence and documents the committee presented during Friday's hearing as part of the investigation.
I wish Mr. Wade had a better memory. I am grateful for him appearing. And I'm grateful for him answering the questions to the best of his recollection. We at least did establish that there was a meeting with someone from the Jan 6 committee. We don't know exactly who that was, but that's something that we've seen evidence of, but never really has been officially clarified.
Ooh, wow, we will
Wade did tell the committee that he is proud of the work that his team did during his time as special prosecutor. At the state capitol, Deidre Dukes, Fox 5.
You know what? Every now and then you think about getting back in the saddle. I'd love to prosecute the case against Wade and Willis. It would be fun. And the other thing is, he just seems to have had some memory lapses in there, but it ain't that he denied that they are meeting with the January 6th committee, which raises the specter of conspiracy. And by the way, I'm an equal opportunity critic. Wade's full of shit, and so is Fannie Willis. So I guess that makes me sexist because I'm criticizing the dumb woman and somebody that got in way over his head. What is it, fatal attraction? You shouldn't have been putting it in that piece. You know, you got caught up in something that looked good, but you might wind up going to jail unless you can cut a deal for a federal crime with a low cap on it. So, yeah.
Well, we got another one. Oh wait, let me not share this. So it says Georgia State passed SB. Oh wait, let me get that out the way. Georgia. Actually, let me share this real quick so I could just have it up. I'll put it this way again.
Did you hear what he said, though? I mean, that's the kind of thing that you play that tape to a jury.
Okay, so
a couple of those remarks.
Georgia Senate passed SB 605 last week, expanding the reasons a district attorney can be disciplined or removed from office. So let me play this clip here.
The Gold Dome, Georgia lawmakers are moving to tighten oversight of the state's district attorneys. Senate Bill 605 would expand the reasons the state can discipline or even remove a prosecutor from office. But some DAs say the bill sets an impossible standard. Hunter King has the story.
The state created its first prosecutor oversight system just 2 years ago. Senate Bill 605 would make that system stronger and some say more dangerous.
In theory, a district attorney could be sanctioned, could be removed from office if they're looked at and they're able to determine, well, victims haven't been notified or you haven't complied in a timely manner to an open records request.
The bill adds new grounds for discipline, including failure to comply with victims' rights laws, open records requests, and discovery rules. Barksdale says his office simply does not have the staff to meet those demands all the time. The state gives his 8-county circuit 8 assistant DAs, 2 secretaries, and 1 victim advocate to handle 2,700 cases.
We are doing nothing but triage. And anything that doesn't fall in that category in some ways is not being tended to the way that I want it to be tended to, the way that the public wants it to be tended to.
Tim Vaughn has served as district attorney in the Oconee Judicial Circuit for 32 years. He says his office faces the same struggle, and he also warns that the bill's open-ended language could be misused.
Don't throw me out of office because I'm a day late, finding this file in a storage building.
Both DAs say they support oversight, but they want the legislature to fund it.
My 6 counties are poor, and I can't put that burden on them. So if the legislature thinks this is such a grand idea, put some money to the problem and provide us with resources to do it.
Reporting in.
Well, translation. Bullshit, because what happens is the district attorney and the defense lawyers are all officers of the court, or a court. And what happens is if the discovery of the matter becomes pertinent, you can turn the lawyer loose in the files who has a duty as an officer of the court to behave in an acceptable fashion. And he can go in, just let him go on in. See, be open. I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, I was unmuted. Also, Fannie Willis, a judge, and I think it was Judge McAfee, said that, listen, you're still on the hook for that $17 million that you have to pay back Trump and his defendants.
Yeah, and by the way, that's why you have to be paying attention to who you elect. Of course, the taxpayers of the Fulton County district are going to wind up paying Trump, but it's her dumb behind that caused them to suffer the expense. Right. So they elected her. They should be paying the consequences of electing a fool.
So it says Republican sponsors led by Senate Bill Cowsert said the measure strengthens accountability and transparency for local elected prosecutors. Lieutenant Governor Burke Jones have publicly tied the bill to frustrations over the Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis and President Donald Trump election interference case. So again, her bullshit with this case handling is like a domino effect of everything that's coming out of Fulton County and their corruption. The FBI season election, documents. You got bills passing to.
Wait. What's the objection to those documents being seized so they can see the light of day?
True.
I mean, why are you objecting? Oh, they're going to do something to corrupt. That's called transference. It's psychological transference. You transfer to the other side what you were doing.
Right. Well,
I love it. Transparency, accountability, openness. Yes, that's what you need to do because frankly, doing this longer than anybody that they've brought on to talk about it. And it looks to me like money laundering, an opportunity to misappropriate public funds, to steal them. And a lot of wrongs going in there. It looks like using your position to violate the Bill of Rights and engage in what has been nominally designated as lawfare these days. In other words, using the criminal justice system to persecute political differences. And that's not what it's supposed to be about. And in fact, it looks like, since what we're getting when this openness has developed, it looks like Trump didn't lie. He was telling the truth. And it looks like the election was flat out stolen. No way of getting around it.
Absolutely. And this is where we're at today. This is the consequences of that.
Which is
So
why you don't allow anybody to prosecute for disagreeing with you. That's England. Remember, somebody 2 years and a few months, because they posted something on Facebook that the Crown doesn't like or agree with. You know, that's the wrong way of approaching stuff. And that's where we were going. That's this hate crime bull. I mean, we used to talk about, hey, man, I want to talk about your mama, man, but blah, 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 blah. And talking about you, you know.
And then here's another thing I want to put out there, because
you
you said it yourself. Prosecutors, they're dirty. It's a lot of dirty prosecutors, a lot of dirty DAs, and they should be held accountable.
Some of the most corrupt, low-class humans you'll ever run into are career prosecutors. There's nothing wrong with being a prosecutor for a while, but that position has too much power, too much authority, in too many moments where somebody can go astray. So to get rid of the arrogance, it is healthy for people to cycle through the prosecutor's office, and there ought to be term limits, so to speak, on how long you can serve in a prosecutor's office before you have to retire. Mandatory retirement.
I think other states need to incorporate bills like this as well, because these prosecutors and DAs, they need to be held accountable for their corruption, and it's a lot of corruption. So
Oh, yes, indeed. And I've encountered a bunch of it over the decades.
Right. All right. Good show. And real quick, Jumps 92, your broke ass didn't send in a donation, but I just want to highlight this because see, this is what you're talking about, the weak men, weak ass pussies. Miss Dana, you cool, but anything before the but is bullshit. So I knew where this was going. You are a prime example of why women shouldn't have too much power. You can't even sit and listen to the judge who have been around in politics before YouTube and fake fame existed. I do listen to him, but the problem is he needs to learn and sit and listen to me as well, because this is my platform. It is my show. He is not a guest because he's part of it. And I'm going to say what the fuck I want to say, how I want to say it, when I want to say it. So that's a two-way street. It works both ways. I listen to him. He listens to me. When I'm talking, he needs to zip it. When he's talking, I need to zip it. That's called discussion and dialogue, you fucking broke idiot. Now I want to block you because you're getting on my nerves. You're irritating me. Honey, that's therapy to me when I do be smoking, when I bring that smoke, honey. Yes, Dana with the smoke. Yeah, it's therapeutic for me. Very. Because there's a lot of stupid idiots out here. They get mad, honey. Don't interrupt them. Bitch, I'll interrupt them if I want to. Anyway, I gotta go check my honey, I'm making a
How you like my hat?
Beef. I love it. Well, I already told you I want all your cowboy hats wheeled to me.
Well, this one says custom made for Judge Joe Brown.
Oh, I still want it. So I don't want none of them. I don't want none of them outside of Ricky. I don't want none of them bitches talking about oh, that's my man, so I need to go claim some of his stuff. No, bitch. No.
Damn.
No, because it's going to be women trying to claim stuff.
Well, maybe, but I don't deal with bitches. All the women I deal with are ladies.
That's my thing. They're going to be trying to claim you got a lot of good shit in your house. And we got to start putting tags on stuff. Anyway, I got to go check on my corned beef, honey. It's in the oven, cooking slow.
I like corned beef and cabbage. It's pretty good stuff.
Listen, tomorrow's St. Patty's. St. Patty's is tomorrow. So I got my corned beef and cabbage that I'm making tonight.
That ought to be, you know, if we did what the rainbow cult is doing, we'd try to cooperate St. Patrick's Day because so many black folk have Irish in them, you know. That there is a good claim that could be made.
Right. But let me go check to make sure I don't get dry or burn up. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you, and always appreciate the judge. See, and he went out. I think they do be listening. They be listening. And it's probably that heifer. It's probably that heifer called him because the bitch is listening to this podcast and heard me say call the bitch or whatever or claiming shit. And she probably called him and knocked him off. That's what that was about. See, I know women. Let me put him backstage because I don't know what the hell happened. I know women. So when I say bitches, you know, I know women. I know women can be sneaky. They're liars. They're jealous. I know how women operate. The bitch just called him and knocked him off. But bitch, this is the end of the show. Show is over. The show is over. So bitch, stay in your feelings because you ain't getting shit in the will. So get all you can now. Get all your little tangibles now when he take you out to dinner and lunch and your little Temu shit that you order. Yeah, get it all out your system now because that's the only thing you ever gonna get. I be talking mad shit, but it's the truth, honey. Listen, everybody have a wonderful week and I will see you guys on Wednesday. Bye.